Oh boy.
Hanging on with the belt?
Well, here we are.
Good. Mike, I mean, obviously you'd always prefer a finish, but a hard-fought win in there tonight. Give us an idea how satisfied you are with how things went tonight.
Yeah, it's tough when you want the finish so darn bad. Everything else is a letdown. So I think I'm going through that right now. All my coaches are mad at me because they're all pumped up. Wife's mad at me. Everybody's like, "What are you talking about? It was dominant." But for me, it's finish or bust, man. But man, I'm proud to step in the cage with Brent Primus, man. He brought more. He brought more than we thought he was going to. He was a tough, slick on the ground, kept moving on the ground. Just interesting on the feet. We did not have any film on him. We didn't have any film from the first fight. It was basically 45 seconds before the injury happened, and then it turned into him kicking my leg. So we kind of went in there blind and just tried to continue to implement the game plan, get in, touch him up, and then take him down.
I know you weren't his biggest fan between then and now, but did he kind of earn your respect in there this evening?
He definitely did, man. And that's the thing, man. It's all fun and games. It's all headlines until you step into the cage with another man. He's got a family. He's got 2 arms, 2 legs. He's a guy. He's a guy in there competing. And my hat's off to him. He was tough. He was a hard fought guy tonight. He went in there as the champion, wanting to defend the belt with his life, and he did a great job.
Michael, he clipped you in the second. Did that change things for you a little bit?
Honestly, no. A fight is a fight, man. There's these punches and these kicks. They land. Sometimes the cobwebs happen. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's a hard thud, and you wonder how you didn't get rocked. And sometimes, it's just so weird. Like I always say it, man. You have to be just like that fight at Madison Square Garden. You have to be ready for anything. You have to be willing to be tied onto a tornado, and that's what we're doing, man. This is the craziest sport aside from bull riding. Bull riding's one of my favorite sports, but aside from bull riding, I think this is the craziest sport in the entire world. You're tied onto a tornado. I could be 1,001 underdog or 1,001 favorite, like I have been numerous times in my career, and you just never know. You're stepping into that cage. When that cage door closes, the whole world's there to see you triumph or be another tragedy. And I was able to stay composed, able to stay in his face and kind of pick him up, put him down, and beat him up there on the ground.
Michael, you were kind of disparaging him holding the belt on the lawn the other day. You've got the gold,
Yeah.
or the metal and leather. You're cradling it pretty close.
Well, that was Danny. Danny made me carry the belt. And he said the champ is here, which was awkward too. But thanks, Danny.
It must feel good though.
Yeah, it's good, man. I mean, these things, man. This right here is from my son. For everybody who has stood behind me, my mom and dad who have been following me and around the world, around the country, throughout wrestling and then now fighting. My beautiful wife who makes all these sacrifices. This is for them. This is gonna do nothing but tarnish and it's gonna have dust on it and it's gonna sit on a shelf. What really matters is what you can do through these performances. What really matters is who Michael Chandler is to my son and to my wife, and that's really what it is, man. So it's a great accomplishment, but for me it's about the impact that I can make in the world. But it'll look good on my shelf next to the other ones.
Mike, do you prefer a trilogy?
Got her.
Or do you prefer fighting somebody else in your next fight?
I don't know what I prefer. I prefer to freaking sit on these beautiful beaches out here in Hawaii, possibly with an adult beverage, with my wife and my family. So it's tough. I always, most of the time, I'm ready to see what's next, see who's next, when we fight and when are we defending this thing, who's getting it. Right now I'm very content to enjoy Hawaii. It's actually tough, and y'all have been here. I've been seeing you guys all week. We're at this resort. Everybody around you is in paradise, and they're doing what they want, and they're eating what they want, and they're drinking what they want, and they're sleeping when they want. And I have not been able to do that. So I'm going to enjoy Hawaii. As I said, man, hats off to Brent Primus and his team. And I'm excited to defend this baby whenever it happens.
As you can tell, Hawaiians love their action. They love their the fight, the style of fight that you technically bring to the octagon. Do you think that you'd want to come here again and fight?
Oh, absolutely, man. This is, aside from the fact that you're basically tortured for about 4 or 5 days being here while everyone else is enjoying it, the second half of my Hawaii trip is gonna be all worth it. But man, it's awesome, and it's cool to hear Coker talk about other organizations had the opportunity to come here and they didn't, you know. So it's cool. It's awesome, and we got Rich Chu, and we got Kerry and Scott. Like all these guys have ties to Hawaii here, so it makes a lot of sense. And you know, the Blaisdell was awesome. I know tomorrow night's sold out, so tomorrow night's gonna be an awesome show. Tonight was an awesome experience for me to fight in front of the servicemen and women in uniform, man. It's you know, you talk about this belt and you talk about the opportunity to fight, and I talk about the opportunity to have a beautiful wife and a son and do what I love and really do what I love, and without our servicemen and women, none of that is possible. Literally none of it is possible, and I think we take it so much for granted. So tonight was awesome, and this was an experience I'll never forget.
Mike, I know that you said, you know, you don't know what's next, but do you feel like the trilogy is necessary at some point? I mean, do you feel like there's unfinished business and you want to win the series, or was this enough, you know, to get it done that you think it's not needed?
You know, it's weird, you know, because I'm not gonna disrespect him and say the first one was necessarily a fluke, you know, but like it happened weird. It was such a weird. It wasn't even a real fight, you know. It was so weird that we both trained for 2 months. We were at Madison Square Garden, and then all of a sudden that happens, you know. And then now tonight we had a real fight. We had a real knockdown, drag-out war, and we settled it, and I came away with the belt. But man, like I said, I have a ton of respect for him. We'll see what's next for him. We'll see what's next for me. I got people chirping in my ear. I got other big matchups here in Bellator. So we'll see what happens after I spend a few days in Hawaii.
Last thing for me, kind of a weird question, but we don't often see national anthems at MMA events. We see it in boxing, something like that. But so I wonder what that was like for you, you know, to be in there, what the moment felt like, especially the troops. I'm sure it was cool, but you know, does it break your rhythm or does it break your concentration? What was that like?
It's so hard, you know, because I don't want to disrespect what the national anthem and the flag and the troops and all that meant to me. But yeah, it was definitely different. First of all, I didn't know it was gonna happen. But second of all, I'm like, let's fight, and then I'm all of a sudden like, oh shoot, we gotta actually don't move. You know, put your hand on your heart, like don't move, don't screw this up on TV, Michael. You know, like so once again, like not to downplay that, but it was interesting because I wasn't expected, and then you know it's not normal, but it was definitely awesome, man. You know, because like I said, these events are so tough. It's like we talk about fighting at Madison Square Garden. We talk about, you know, when I fought Eddie Alvarez, and it was top 10 guys in the world. Like these big moments, you actually don't really get to enjoy them until you look back on them. You know, it's so tough. Like I think this week when we're sitting on the beach and we're talking, and we're going to talk about, you know, when I talked about my wife in the crowd, actually around the servicemen and women, when they talk about when they saw the colors come in, you know, like I don't really get to enjoy that stuff because I'm so focused, you know, and then so it's almost like a weird, you know, foreshadowing or afterthought, and then I look back and say, man, it would have been cool to enjoy that a little bit longer. So I hope you guys enjoy my career because I don't get to enjoy it.
Michael, quick question for you. Take me through your mindset that last minute. You obviously had control of the ground throughout most of the bout. What are you thinking that final minute of the fifth round?
Man, I'm always, you know, when I'm in there, I'm always just thinking about, okay, how can I get to a position to finish? How can I get to a position to do some damage? And honestly, I was thinking about my son. I said, my son needs this win. My son needs this win bonus, you know. So I think I knew I was gonna. I knew I was up on the scorecards, but I always want to constantly work for that finish and just try to be as dominant as I can. You know, every single moment that I'm in there is a blessing. Every single second and minute that I get to perform in front of the fans and in front of people on TV is a huge blessing and a great opportunity. So I don't take it lightly, and I'm always trying to kind of exit advanced position and move.
Mike, I appreciate that honest characterization, but in your defense, it looked like you were actually trying to pass multiple times in that fifth round. Was that kind of just a credit to Primus? Like you were saying, he was just more crafty than you expected?
Yeah, he was crafty, but I can honestly do more damage in guard than I can passing. You know, and I think that's one of the things, and that actually did go through my mind, was the fact that he was kind of throwing up submissions, and to a judge, they may be scoring that for him. For me, I knew there was a 0.001% chance he was going to get me in any of those because I could just feel it in my instincts. I was going to be able to get out of him. But you also have to realize that you're being judged, you know, and if you don't get that win, if you don't get that finish, those judges will, you know, possibly score for him, you know. So for me, I enjoy staying in guard, which is unfortunate for the unified rules because I know a guy on bottom can technically throw up a bunch of submissions and you don't do as much damage on top, or pass the guard, which in their eyes might be, you know, scoring points. So it's a little bit, you know, different, but you also have to play to the rules. You have to know what the rules are, what the unified rules are, but I like to do damage in the guard. You saw it with the Yamauchi fight. And man, I hit him with some elbows, man. I wanted to cut him open. Every single time I hit him, I was like, okay, that's the one. I looked down and he wasn't cut open, so I was a little bit upset. And one time I headbutted him, and I was telling Herb, I was like, that came from a headbutt because I came down with a hard elbow and, now I got another one. But so I was gonna hit. I did that on purpose, but I didn't mean to do it that. Why is this one 4 inches high? Is this yours, Garrett? Why is this one 4 inches longer? Got her. But no, and I was telling Herb, I said, hey man, that was for a headbutt because I literally came down, and I've done that so many times. I'm a freaking bull in the china cabinet, but everybody loves it, so we'll keep doing it.
Michael, they are huge fans here, and it's going to be ram-packed to the rafters tomorrow night. You're the champion now. Are you coming to greet the fans tomorrow night with your belt after you've had the beer with the family on the beach or a margarita or whatever in the afternoon? We'll see you here tomorrow night, presumably.
I'm actually not 100% sure, so we'll see. I did my job. I've done my job, and I've been doing my job over the last 2 months. And my wife. I've been away from her, and I miss her, and I miss my family. So we'll see. I am in Hawaii, so I'll be close. So we'll see if I can make an appearance. We'll see if Scott can woo me off the beach.
You can always pull it up on DAZN.
Yeah, I can always pull it up right on DAZN.com. Get it. I think it's $9.99 a month. Cancel it at any time. No, but with that actually, and I'm mad at Danny actually because I had a Paramount T-shirt, and I really do want to say, Kevin K has been a man that has stood behind me, literally since 2010, and it was a somber day. It was a sad day whenever Kevin K left. So Kevin K, Frank Tanky, Niall Sherman, man, these are some guys that I've broke bread with. I've spent every single one of these events hanging out with them and seeing them, and the amount of support that they have given me through the ups and through the downs is nothing short of amazing. But I wore a Paramount T-shirt, but then Danny rushed me, so I couldn't wear it. But I did that for them, and it's a huge hat tip, and it's been an awesome opportunity and such a blessing to be able to fight for those guys, because I never quite felt like just an athlete. I felt like family here, and I always have, and that's part of the reason why you guys have seen me stick around now for going on a decade, and I've been able to make a great living for myself and my family because of it, and it's only because, because at the end of the day, this is business, but it's also the people business and relationship business, and I've talked about being a great employee, and I've continued to try to do that since day one, so thank you, Kevin and Frank Tanky and Niles and all those guys. So
you've had some really big victories in your career, Eddie Alvarez, Pitbull. Where do you rank this victory tonight?
It's hard. I'll have to look back at it. I mean, I don't think it's up there with a lot of those. You win in a world title again. So it's not that it ever goes away, not that the mystique ever goes away, but I've been in some big fights with some big names, and but like I said, Brent Primus brought it tonight. He brought it, and he was a champion trying like heck to defend his belt, and he brought it tonight.
Real quick, I know you expected to dominate, and like you said before, like basically ruin Primus tonight. How do you handle as a fighter that moment in the fight going, oh shit, this is a fight?
Yeah.
Because I don't know when that happens for you, but as a fan, as a viewer watching, goes, oh, this is a fight. I mean, how does it work for you?
Yeah, I think, and that's the funny thing too. I mean, I fully expected to get in the driver's seat, put that key in the ignition, and just go Michael Chandler and get the finish. But that's, once again, I think these things happen for me and not to me. When I look at this 25-minute war against a guy who I thought I was going to come in and dispatch in the first round, it continues to build that gall. It continues to build this thick skin that I've had for that I'm continuing to develop over this long career of mine. And it makes me respect him more. It makes me respect this sport more. The fact that I've got some cuts and some bruises, and my knees are all jacked up, and I feel like I've been in a fight. It makes you respect this sport even more. So it is tough, but you have to have that mindset shift, and it's hard too, because like I was saying earlier, I always want to go for the finish. So it's not as if I conceded and decided, okay, I'm gonna get this win by decision. I'm constantly looking to dominate, but there comes a point where I put my foot on the gas and I go as hard as I can. I redline it until I try to get the finish in that first and second round. And if it doesn't happen, I can kind of settle in as a veteran. And I think that's something that I brought to the Benson Henderson fight. I realized he's actually the most durable guy in the entire world. So when I realized I wasn't going to get the finish right away, pulled the foot off the gas a little bit and kind of turned it into a fight, turned it into a technical fight. And tonight I had to do that. I had to win by any means necessary.
Just following up on that, for those first 2 rounds, your left hook, right hand was there, wasn't it? And you were looking for that the whole time.
Yeah.
Had you worked on feinting him and getting him to throw his jab or his right hand over the top? Because if you feinted, it was probably there for both punches.
Yeah, man, Henry Hooft has got me so prepared when it comes to my hands and kicks. And I think that's one of the things too when you talk about preparation for the fight. I have never been so confident in my entire life in my hands. I feel like I can knock down a rhino if he walked in here tonight. And I think that's where a little bit of the letdown comes. I was so confident in my hands, so confident in my boxing, my kickboxing. So to be able to not get the finish or land those punches, I know I dropped them and hurt him a couple times to the body. But it's one of those things where I am constantly working on the ups and downs. People know I'm a wrestler. He felt me get the takedown right away, the first, second, third, every single round. So he knew the takedown was coming. So can kind of use the feints, the ups and downs, body shots, open up the head opens up the body.
And in a dream scenario, there's a lot of great lightweights in the world. If you could choose someone as your next opponent, regardless of organisation, who would it be, Michael?
Khabib.
Yeah.
I think Khabib. I mean, if we're talking regardless of organization, I mean, Khabib's the #1 guy in the world. I'm always wanting to fight the #1 guy in the world, and I don't just say that because he's the #1 guy in the world. I think, as we saw tonight, I can do that to anybody in the entire world. I think, but it's tough. It's tough. I kind of put myself in a predicament when I say Khabib, because people are like, "Oh, why are you calling him out?" But really, it was a reporter asking who I wanted to fight. And I'm like, I'm not out here calling out Khabib, but I do think I hold the keys to that lock, that puzzle that a lot of people can't solve.
Because it is one of the pities about the sport that we don't get to see those fights unless there's a change of organisation or someone falls out with a president or a CEO. We don't get to see them very often.
Yeah, it is.
Or even late in a career.
Exactly. Yeah, but now we're talking trades and we're talking all kinds of stuff happening. So I think 2018 is a great time to be a fighter, and I think 2019 is going to bring another couple layers, some interesting kind of things that we can do. And man, I think Max Holloway was here, and the Diaz brothers, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. So who knows, man? This is gonna be an interesting sport a year, 2 years from now, and I'm still gonna be in it. I got a lot of years left in the sport.
Can I finally ask about getting back to your son now? Because obviously you've had to not neglect him, but you've been away for a while. How emotional is it to go back to your boy? You spoke when we were in Hollywood before, and in Los Angeles about the adoption of him, how much it meant to you. Can you just talk to us about what it means going back as daddy and winner to your son?
Yeah, right now he doesn't understand what's going on, but I think someday he's gonna look at my career, because it's gonna live on the internet. I've had a great opportunity to do some really great things, and my wife actually sent me a video of him earlier when I was back in the back, and I started tearing up, and it is just crazy because it's not lip service. It's not something that I say that I do this for him, and I do this because I want to paint a picture and paint a masterpiece. I truly want him to believe in me and love the man that I am and the man that I was someday when he's old enough to understand it. And every single moment, every single day, every single performance, every single interaction, I get an opportunity to paint that picture, and it's another brush stroke. So I'm just excited to go back. He's not going to know that I got into a fight. He's probably going to see my black eyes and wonder what the heck's going on with Daddy's face. But
the beast goes in the cupboard, does he? Basically? The beast of you goes in the cupboard.
And that's the craziest thing too, is I've gone so far on the spectrums of lover. I've turned into the biggest lover in the entire world. My heart has grown tenfold as a father now. But on the other end of the spectrum too, it's maybe just kind of a nastier human being too when I step into that cage, So finding that fine line between both, and the greatest thing and the greatest label and the greatest job that I will ever have in my entire life is being dad. And it's something that I don't take lightly, and I'm just extremely blessed to be able to be his dad.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.